Yeah, and I'm
Yeah.
so excited that I get to do this with you, my co-host, Miss Marceline, the content queen.
Yes.
So we're diving in again to the topic of kind of making like a lasting impression or a lasting impact in your community, daily interactions, but overall personal branding, like the topic title says. Um, so many people think about like personal branding is just for influencers or like celebrities. At least I think
Hmm.
so. And truly, it's really about understanding what makes you unique. And it's about how you're perceived. And I think we talked about this before the space, but just like how you want to be remembered. And so today we have Marceline, who is an incredible insight expert on everything personal branding and content and kind of building our business or brand into something that is what's the word, like
Um,
successful.
I mean, for me, okay, well, see, the thing is, success is subjective, right? So, I
Hmm.
mean, like, yeah, success, but more like making your brand memorable. Like, you want people
Memorable.
to,
Oh, I like that.
yeah, you want to make your brand like memorable because
Absolutely.
you don't want people to like come across you and be like, okay, all right. You want to be able to, and you can do this through like your content that you put out, or, well, really, since we're on social media, it's the content that you put out, but it depends on the content format. So that's why I talk about content so much. And maybe I should, I guess, reposition it to be more so like what content does for your brand. But anyway, yeah. So memorable is the word I would use.
Yeah, and I love that. Marceline is definitely creating a brand that is totally memorable for her family community. She empowers women through deep learning and like community driven branding. She also is super set on like faith fueled, action oriented approaches. It says in her banner, let faith fuel your fearlessness. And I just love that because if we are fearful of anything in our life and we don't have faith that we can overcome that or accomplish whatever it is we want, then we're kind of stuck. We're kind of just like sitting pretty, watching everyone else, succeed or pass us by. But if we have faith that we believe in ourselves and can overcome that fearful and become fearless, then you've really discovered the blueprint right there, the secret sauce. And so Marcy tends to dive into a lot of little spaces, and she sparks really great combos with a lot of spiciness and flair and especially content. So stay tuned for her spaces. One of my favorite quotes, and I put this in my recent newsletter shouting her out, is she says, some of y'all are so addicted to quick wins you can't play the long game. That is like deep. I love that saying.
I'm glad that that resonated with you because it's like I hear it a lot in spaces where there'll be like coaches or whoever will say like, or business advisors will say give your audience quick wins, and it's like,
Hmm.
yeah, but they get so used to having these quick wins that at some point they're not going to want to invest
Yeah.
the long-term time that it takes, and they're going to think that when they don't get those quick wins that they're doing something wrong. And I understand, like, that's why in some of my writings I have action plans, because the action plans give the quick win, but they also add up to, providing momentum into that long-term growth. Like,
Oh
I
yeah.
could not imagine, just continuously feeding people quick wins. And then when I disappear and I'm not feeding them anymore, they don't know what to do. I don't
Mm-hmm.
want people to rely on me like that.
That's interesting. I also think quick wins come with quick like downfalls too. Like if you're not investing into the long-term vision, you're more so like in an experimental phase. You're just kind of like coming and going. You're winning, and then another challenge comes up. You try to fulfill that instead of having a plan and being able to combat those obstacles that might come up.
Right, exactly. I mean, when when you get to a point of, because it's called feast and famine. So like there are going to be moments where you're high feasting, where you have like clients, things are going well, like you feel like things are working out. And then during that time of your feasting, if you are not, having your systems in order, your operations, like your CRMs and all the stuff on the back end, if you're not having that set up while you're, high, you're going to go into a point of famine, right? Because like you're not drawing in new people, you're not getting new leads or potential clients, and you don't have a system set up to do so. So when those short term what's it called? When those short term clients or whoever you're working with, those contracts in, you're gonna go into a scramble because you're like, oh my gosh, now I need another client and I wasn't prepared for not having one.
Yeah, like those
Yeah.
down seasons, because that definitely happens in sales, whether it's like your personal small business or like your actual career. There are down seasons where it's like, and even in workplaces that don't have sales, like you could potentially, I for one have had this happen, where you go through like a slow season and they lay you off because there's not any work coming in for them to sustain you as an employee. So I think that's true. You always have to be prepared for literally any kind of obstacle that might come up. So back to like what is a personal brand? I really want to like set the scene and start with the basics, Marcy. So when we talk about a personal brand, what exactly are we referring to, and how would you define it for our listeners?
Okay, before I do that, hey Savage, hey JJ, welcome to the space. I appreciate the emojis. So for me, personal branding is is the set of values, morals, visual elements, messaging, and consistently putting this out across not just your social media, but also in your website. This could be your writing, like if you're writing emails, your text messaging. So, like having consistency and showing up as the individual you say you are, and, showing, like putting action into, hey, Matt, putting action into those values, those morals. Like, okay, so for instance, I have a brand partnership with Kit. So like I'm an ambassador. Sorry, I'm an ambassador for Kit, which is the email platform. And when they contacted me, they were like, "Oh, you are displaying one of our values, which is teaching everything you know." Because when I had um a 6-day course type thing here on Twitter where I was showing people how to use the Kit platform, because I knew that if I could make it easier for people to transition, then that's what I would want to do. Hey Tech. So for me, it's really showing up authentically, right? And that's even when you feel like people are not watching, right? Like somebody could be anonymously listening to this space right now. And if I was just to like go off, like completely different person than I, say I am, then that anonymous listener has been lost to me, right? They won't even consider coming into this space because I'm not upholding what I say my personal brand is. Also, so just one more example and then I'll stop. How you said about my banner, right? Faith, fueling my fearlessness. At one point, I was very careful, right? and weary of if I was actually going to be able to do the things I say I was going to do. But when I started reading my scripture and really putting faith into my actions and believing that what I was doing was going to pay off, I became fearless. Now I show up on I show up on TikTok, TikTok live videos, here on Twitter. I'm showing up on LinkedIn. So it's like different places and I'm doing different things, connecting with different people and accepting certain opportunities, not all of them, certain opportunities that even if I don't get an immediate payout, it's worth the time. It's worth the investment. For me, because I have that, I guess, moral code is that I don't have to always um, show everything that I'm doing in the background, especially when it's something that I'm doing out of like just kindness and wanting to do in my spare time. So, personal branding is upholding your morals, values, having consistent visual brands and messaging across your platforms.
That's a great distinction of what your personal brand is. So I think in its simplest form, it's how people perceive you when you're not in the room. And so it's not just about like what you say, but what you do and how you show up for your community and your audience. Would you agree with that
Yes, I wanted to
simple
say
form of
the
it?
what you just said was it is the things that people say about you when you're not in the room. That's personal branding. So if Tech was to leave out of this room right now and say Marceline, you know, you know, taught me this, or Marceline is, doing this thing and I think that she's really nice, or Megs is such a kind person, she's so sweet. That's personal branding. That right there. You have made a mark, you have left a brand on that person's emotions, and that's what you want for your personal brand.
So it's like every interaction, every post, every project, decision you make, it all contributes to the perception of whether you're aware of it or not, but the goal of building that personal brand. It's intentional, it's aligned with who you truly are and what you want to achieve. So diving deeper into those key components. So we kind of went over like especially values, reputation, but maybe we could touch a little bit on like skills and passion. So we often hear about like those four things: values, skills, passion, and reputation is the key elements that you want to focus on when you're doing your personal brand. Could you maybe walk us through each of those? I know you already did with like value and reputation a little bit, but why are these so crucial in building a strong personal brand? Maybe we can start with skills. What do you think?
Yeah, that's fine. Well, it depends on if you're talking about air quotations, hard skills and soft skills. Because really what we consider soft skills are really the most important. Like, you have to be personable. You have to be able to be level-headed and mindful, empathetic. You have to be able to see not just from your point of view, but from multiple people's points of views, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that could be um, your audience, your reader. It could be even your competition, air quotations. And I put air quotations around things because I don't necessarily use those terms, but that is common, that like common terms
Mm-hmm.
that are used often. Um, so you have to be able to see the world. You have to see your brand and what you're putting out there from different points of view. So those are the skills that I um try and work on a lot. Also,
Mm-hmm.
your speaking skills, writing skills, those are more of like air quotations, I guess the hard skills
Yes.
that you would want to practice, especially if you're going to be on X. Like specific, that's why me and Sharon were talking about it, X and LinkedIn, because for me, X is the break room of LinkedIn. The business professionals come to X to like hang out and shoot the shit, but then kind of still, you know, network and stuff. And
Mm-hmm.
so, um, yeah, you always have to invest time into enhancing your old skills and investing time in developing new skills. So
Hmm.
hopefully that answers the question.
Yeah, and just to kind of give a little summary of everything she said, it sounds like skills are the things that you can do that make you unique, as we've been saying. They would be considered like your expertise or things you're super good at and what you might want to, what you might be able to bring to the table. She also touched on hard skills versus soft skills. So, hard skills would be skills like coding or public speaking, building websites, things like that. Soft skills would be more like active listening, problem solving, intentional listening, so things that are not skills that I think what would you say the difference in like
Mm,
soft and hard
Soft
skills
skills
are?
cannot be seen.
Oh,
Most
that's
of
a
the
good one.
time, a
Okay.
soft skill cannot be seen. A hard skill is something that, either will end up in a deliverable, something tangible, something that you can like
Yes.
see. So
Yes.
yeah.
So, yeah, your skills demonstrate your capability and what you're known for delivering. So, they're how you can create that tangible value as a brand in itself. It's not just listing them, but really showing how you apply them and can help people through them. So, it might be good to think about what are you genuinely good at when you're starting your personal brand or starting to build that concept in terms of skills. What kind of skills can you bring to the table, and what do people consistently come to you for help with? Those could be hard skills, those could also be soft skills, so that's something to think about. Moving on, let's talk excuse me, let's talk a little bit about passion. So, how do passions fuel a personal brand? And how does doing what you love to do and what genuinely excites you infuse that brand with things like energy? I think a word that could be used is like authenticity, and just kind of attracts the type of people or audience that you're hoping to find. How can we use passion to build our personal brand, Marceline?
I'll say that a lot of the times passion can get misconstrued or conflated with interests. So a lot of people, like we have, we're creatives. Most of us are very creative individuals, and we hear this a lot that we are multifaceted, like we're multi-talented, we have multiple interests, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you have multiple passions, right? So like I love gaming, I love fitness, I love art. Art is my number one love, right? And at one point I was attempting, well, I did it. I was like a commission artist and I did art for children's illustrations. I mean, illustrations for children's books. So I've done that thing. And even though I love art, that is not what I'm passionate about. What I'm passionate about is education in a way that is simple to understand, it's fun, it's casual, and it will help the women in the community understand how to bridge the gap of the idea that they have, the message that they want to put out there and spread, and then with the content creation, like actually putting it out there, knowing what is going to move the mark for them and also not stress them out, right? Because it's very stressful when you want to be good. But anyway, so when you're focused on your passion, if you're able to drop something, if you're able to drop it and not pick that thing back up and not focus on it and not be like 100% obsessed with this thing, it may not be your passion. Like I love video games, but that's not a passion. I've worked with I've worked with cosplayers, gamers that are streamers. I've worked, I did a panel at an anime convention. I love anime. I love gaming, but that's not a passion. And that doesn't drive me. Like I'm not moving for that, you know? So understanding what you are willing or what you think about often. Like, what is the mission? Your passion is going to like be why you continue to like thrive on this mission to be there for other people. A lot of people, like a lot of creatives, people who are building brands, it's because they see an issue, they see a problem, and they're like, I'm tired of seeing this problem. I'm tired of, like, I want to be able to put my, as they say, put my hat in the ring or whatever. And I want to be able to assist in getting rid of this problem, getting rid of this issue. So you
Mhm.
have to think about that in the perspective of passion.
Yeah, I kind of like thought about the question, um, what could you talk about for hours without getting bored? Like I think that's passion. I think also like what lights you up, what makes you excited. That's passion. And then also just like that feeling of like being, I don't know, the word infectious comes to mind, where it's like you you just like exuberate your passion. Exuberate, I love that word. I don't even know where that word came from, but you just kind of like are like putting so much into your passion that people can see it, and it's so powerful that they want that passion. And I think that in itself is something that I've experienced with my own attempt to start things. And I think that comes to the question that I want to ask Marcy is, what if my passions don't align with my current skill set or my current career or job? Like what would your advice be to someone who asks that?
Okay, before I answer, I'm sorry, I had to go back to the passion thing real quick. Tech and Sharon were on a live building a CRM for 5 hours. 5 hours. That's passion. Like, that's a real example of I'm passionate about doing this thing, building this, providing this to other individuals. 5 hours. Okay, sorry. I had to say that because, like, when I saw, because I was there for maybe 45 minutes, like off and on, because it was right before Bible study. But I went to GitHub, like you said, it makes you want to do the thing. So I went to GitHub. I made me a GitHub account. I went to the railway, I think is what it's called. I got that. And then, like I want to do the thing. I want to practice doing the thing, even if it doesn't like amount to me building something tangible. It's just like practicing and doing it and being a part of or being able to do the thing with someone who's so knowledgeable and you can see that they love what they do. So when I saw Tech and Sharon doing that, I was like, oh yeah, I have to be a part, right? So anyway, anywho, all right. So if your passion, like what you want to pursue, doesn't necessarily line up with your skill set, skills can be learned. Like I didn't know anything about digital marketing. I went and learned digital marketing. I mean, like now we also had this conversation yesterday in, I believe it was Sam's space. He talked about fast.
Marcy, you're
Can you
kind
hear
of,
me?
yeah, you cut out a little bit.
Okay, my bad. So the thing is, like, he was hosting a space about fast learning and deep learning. Which one will get you hired? The thing is, when you do fast learning, right, and you're trying to learn skills as quick as you can to get hired, sometimes that can become confusing and you end up learning wide. So you have where you're what they call it, a jack of all trades type thing, where you have knowledge and you have the skill in a lot of different places. So when you are looking to um, transition or pivot, because you always hit the pivot, find, find you can go to chat too. And Mike told me this, how to land any job is his handle here on X.
Is everything okay? Was that the end of your sentence? I couldn't tell. I think I think she might be I think Twitter might be twittering for her. Um okay, well I think what she was trying to say is that I've myself, when I looked for a job after college, I was just taking whatever I could get because one, sometimes we just need to pay the bills. And then two, it's like, okay, I don't really know what I want to do, but I know I need money. So I'm just going to take this job because they want me, even though I'm not going to be happy and I'm not going to want to do it long term. Kind of like the thing Jess was, or sorry, oops, Marcy says, you guys, like, we're so focused on getting the quick wins that we don't even think about the long term. And as soon as I started thinking about long term, I go out and then come back in, Marcy. I think I think maybe like you're twittering. Um,
Can you hear me?
oh yes, yes.
Oh my gosh,
You
girl.
were on mute. Did you know that? I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, I started hitting like the mic button. It was too much.
Oh,
Yeah, but you're right. Twitter is
okay.
twittering. You can finish if you want to.
Yeah, I'm gonna finish and then we can go back to passion. But I think as soon as I focused on long term goals and what I really was passionate about and what I could see myself doing for years, because truthfully, I have not had a job for more than like a year and a half, maybe 2 years. So it's frustrating when you have to keep doing the thing over and over. You have to keep starting over. And I had to really think like, what is the reason for me to start over? And truthfully, I did sales for a long time, and sales has a high turnover rate. They, are constantly bringing in people, letting go people, but I wouldn't I wouldn't say like I regret that era because I've been able to learn so much about communication, how to persuade people, to how to um, see the benefits or the things that could benefit that customer, asking questions to figure out how I can help someone. So there's definitely been some growth throughout that sales journey, but it wasn't something I was passionate about. So, you know, I think that comes to topic of like, how do I find my core values? And someone actually commented today on one of the posts that I have in the jumbotron about, it says like the core values checklist, and it's about like, I would say a little over, maybe at least 20 different values that can resonate with someone who is looking to find those core or just popular core values. So like integrity, resilience, focus, ambition, authenticity. So I encourage you to use that core values checklist, or even just jot down a whole bunch of core values that you'd like to be remembered as, or that you feel you represent, and really hone in on at least your top six in order of importance. So, like for me, my top six was in order of importance: confidence, integrity, growth, ambition, resilience, and authenticity. And I think when you put out your personal brand, it has to like kind of tie back to those core values. And how are you posting? How are you? And Jess kind of, I mean, oh, sorry, Marcy kind of put me in check this morning. She was like, what was that space about? And I was thinking, I was like, oh, she's coming for me because I know what she means. Yesterday I was on a space with friends, and that might be a good question, like, so if I'm trying to create a brand for myself, am I should I not hang out with people who maybe clash with my brands, or maybe because I don't feel like I was saying anything. I was on mute because I was in the moment struggling with that. I was like, oh, I miss these people, but like, yeah, they are swearing a lot and they are acting a fool, but like, I miss them, and like, I don't know, I was really struggling because I was like, I know if I leave, they'll be a little salty, but if I stay, people are gonna like probably. But luckily, X and TikTok are not like combined. So it's not, yeah, but even on X, like sometimes I'll host or have gone into rooms where they're a little controversial or they're like arguing a lot, they're debating a lot. And I'm thinking to myself, like, should I be here? And I mean, I don't want to like diminish their value because I mean, they're bringing up great conversations. They're testing my mind. They're testing, what my thought process is on certain topics. So I see the vision, I see the potential, but the execution, I don't know. What do you think about that, Marcy?
Girl, I'm so glad that you said that because when I text you, that's exactly what I was talking about. I was like, what? What was going on in that live? Okay. Because I had been watching. Now, look, when you were like there, it says it's like five people. It's because I was on the outside of the live watching.
Girl, don't
Girl,
even tell me you were one of them that wasn't tapping.
I was anonymously watching you. Hey, Russ. So, but that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Like, even though they're not connected, it's the fact that someone may decide to follow. Okay, when you have a brand, a personal brand, and you are influential, meaning that you influence people to move around and follow you in different places. Like, I encourage people to follow me on TikTok and LinkedIn and Instagram, even though I don't really use it like that. You never know. You never know who is going to stumble upon you. And you want to be able to say that no matter the instance or moment in time, that you are upholding all of your values. That's what integrity is. Integrity means that you are going to act the same way no matter who you are around. Like, I have been invited to spaces and I'm like, nah, that's not the space for me. That's just not it. I don't want to indulge in that. I don't even want to be a listener to that. I don't want to partake in that because for me, spiritually, I know opening my ears, my eyes, my heart, my mind to these things can influence me to start acting and behaving differently than what I have said, in the way that I said I act. So now it's like, no, I don't want to do that. Like I had
So,
lead like invited me to this space and girl,
uh-huh.
I was like,
Was it last night? Because it was spicy. The title was
girl.
spicy.
And the thing is, it's like I don't want to be a part of that conversation. Like, don't invite me to those things. I don't
Yeah.
want to listen to it. I don't want to talk in it because the
Yeah, and
thing
I don't
is,
want to know. I don't want to know.
yeah. So, but what I'm saying is, when you are navigating these Twitter streets, it could be Twitter, it could be TikTok, whatever, these streets, you have to be mindful of the energy that you put out, the energy you consume. And when it
Hmm.
comes to, um, you know, sharing your passion and sharing your values and your morals and upholding like, the worldly ethics, societal ethics, um, it's just we have to take that, decision by decision, like choice by choice. Because I saw the space or I saw that live and I was like, oh, I'm gonna text her in the morning. I'm gonna text her in the morning. That's why I was like, y'all have a good live. And I just left. I was like, y'all have fun with that.
You left to the anonymous section.
I just would no, I mean like before I came in the live, I was watching because I was like, oh, Megs is live. Okay, what y'all talking about? And so I stopped and I heard the music and I was like, hold up, what's going
Yeah,
on here? And I like, but the thing is, like, I'm not trying to make you feel bad or talk bad about you or your friend. I understand what it's like to want to be in, you know, hang out with the people
Mhm.
that bring you joy, hang out with the people that make you laugh and feel good. And but at the same time, girl, the verse of the day, hold up. Romans 8 and
What?
6. For to be carnally minded, which means fleshly minded, is death, but to be spiritually minded is life and peace. Right?
Uh-huh.
So
Mhm.
in that moment when you're with your friends, and this is for everybody, and they're not, and it's not conducive to the person that you want to be spiritually, that's a test.
So are we just not friends anymore?
No, I'm
Not me
not.
and you, but like, you know
No.
what I mean?
Well, I'm not saying that. I'm saying that you can still have conversation and be friends and, just let them know your boundaries as far as, hey, I would love to go live, but when we go live, I would prefer not to do this, right? I would prefer not to play this music, or these are the things that I would like to do or not do because you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not saying you have to go
But
into
it's
depth.
kind of asking them to like leave who they are at the door and like adapt to what I want.
Well, I mean, but that's the thing. Like, I'm not saying y'all have to play Christian music. Y'all could play jazz, instrumental. Y'all could play, other stuff in the background to set a calm mood. I'm not saying that they have to completely change who they are or what their interests are for you, but there is a common ground because if they respect you and they love you and they want to be your friend, then they'll be willing to make that's a small adjustment. Changing the
Hmm.
music that you have in the background or, when they go to a certain topic that conflicts with your values and your morals, then you say, hey, I don't want to partake in this conversation. Like, oh, I don't have nothing to say about that. Like when Lee invites me to a space, I don't say nothing to him and I don't enter. I just go, no, that ain't for me. I'm good. Thank you though. You know what I mean? Like that's just not for me. I'm still friends with him. I still ask him, hey, how you doing? Like, you doing good? That's good. Great. Your family doing good? Okay, cool. Like that's the type of conversations that we have. But
Hmm.
but it doesn't go past unless he invites me to a space that is
Resonates with you.
up, uplifting me and building me up emotionally, mentally, spiritually. Other than that, then I can't jive with it. I can't jive. So,
Man, lots of self reflection. I, yeah, I think I do struggle with that because low key, like in my car, I do, I do be blasting that music. So, I mean, I'm a little. I mean, I know what we're all thinking. You can't be best of both worlds. You can't have your cake and eat it too, and I get that, but I like a good like ratchet song every once in a while.
but the thing is, though, man, as a
Yes,
person who
yes.
is claiming to be a follower of
Um,
Christ,
yeah.
a person who reads the Bible, a person who follows the Word. Hey, Sharon, just me, like that's why I couldn't stay in the live because, like, I don't want to hear that.
So it's like either. So this is for me. Like
Yeah.
I'm thinking either my options are either I exclude myself from these lives that don't resonate with my spiritual values, or maybe don't publicize myself as someone who is extremely spiritual so that it doesn't clash with the
Okay. Okay.
community.
But now I have a
Uh-huh.
problem. Now I have an issue
Okay. All right.
because now you're considering diminishing your light to fit in with people who are not feeding you. That's a problem. You just considered not publicizing and being boastful for the Lord and being righteous in your own right so that you can play in folly with these people and listen to ratchet music. Come on, Megs. All you have to do is have a hard conversation, and it don't even have to be hard. You can talk to your friends if you, like I said, if they're your friends and they love you and they care about you, then you can say, "Hey, whatever your name is, when we go on live together, I would prefer to play jazz music, or I would prefer to play something other than this type of music." You don't even have to give them a reason. Just say, "I prefer not to listen to this." And if they come back to you and say, "No, Megs, this is not, like that's not cool," or they give you an attitude, those are not your people. Don't dim your light to be in with people that do not feed you spiritually, mentally, emotionally, physically. Don't do that. Please. As your sister in Christ, don't do that.
Amen. We are proclaiming that. We are going to work towards that goal. But I think we should move to another question.
Well, we can go back to the skills, right? Because you asked,
Yeah, so what if my passions don't align with my current job or skill set? And I
okay,
think you were talking about like the getting hired fast or something like
okay,
that.
so when we're talking about skills, right? When we're talking about a skill set, if you're lacking in something, you can go to chat. I'm going to start with this and then I'll go to what you was talking about. You can go to chat and say, "Hey, I'm pivoting from this, right? From this job, or I have this skill set, but I am wanting to go into this industry with this skill set, or whatever. What skill set will I need to be able to do this job, right? And give me top 10 skills, five hard, five soft, whatever you want to, right? So that would be the prompt. And then it'll give you those skills. So over time, and then you can even ask it to prioritize the skills in order of importance. So you say, "Hey, chat, I'm pivoting from digital marketing to project management. What top 10 skills do I need in order to make this transition? Give me five hard, five soft, and list them in importance, in order of importance." That way you have your skill set, but then also you can ask it, "What skills from digital marketing can I take into project management, that will, that I can enhance, or maybe, or have some type of overlap." That way you have your skill set, and all you have to do is focus on the ones from most important to least important. I mean, there's plenty of courses, free courses. Like I just saw one, I looked it up for technical writing on Google. So Google, I think it's Google Dev. They have a technical writing course and it's free, and I'm taking it. And then I have EDX through Verizon. It's something learn forward or something like that. I'll have to look it up again. But it's free for 12 months, and it's basically like tech skills, so like project management, data analysis. Um, there are digital marketing. I did the AI technology for marketing optimization. I have that certificate or that certification. And then yeah, so stuff like that. What I was talking
So
about, yeah,
that
go
is
ahead.
such like investing into yourself so that you are creating that reputation. And I think it actually answered another question I have, which was, is it possible to change your reputation?
Yeah, it's always possible. Now, the thing is, it's possible to change your reputation, but of course, you're always going to have people who are like, "Oh, but you used to be this way," right? So when I stopped eating pork, I haven't had pork in 7 years. I've had people say, "Oh, well, you used to eat it." Okay, I don't no more. So, period. I'm not eating it no more. The reputation has changed. Or, "Oh, you used to go to the club and twerk on this person." I don't do that no more. I don't go to the club. Reputation changed. Don't bring it up no more. I'm not the same.
I love that. Like, believe in the new you, believe in your new reputation, and set them straight. When I was going through, my transition from like college Megan to adulting Megan, girl, It was a roller coaster ride, okay? And then I landed, I got to the end of the roller coaster, and I was like, hey, you guys, I don't think I'm gonna go on this roller coaster anymore. And I had so many people bring up, like, all the time I'd go places, see someone I knew, and they're like, Megan, do you remember that time? Blah, 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 blah. I'm like, why? Why do we have to bring that up? I told you I wasn't going on this roller coaster anymore. Like, I don't even want to remember the roller coaster. Thank you. So I totally respect that, being able to, and then I think it goes again in terms of like your core values and what you want to be remembered as. And over time, I definitely, that was kind of left at the door, where I was able to build that new reputation by showing people through my actions and words that I mean business. And if you're going to talk to me about things that don't resonate anymore, then I'm sorry, we're not going to be able to hang out, or you're not really like promoting positivity in my life, because we always have to talk about the mistakes I made. So, yeah, I'm going to have to do a lot of inner reflection, I think, from after the space. But I did put inside the Jumbotron, I think it's the second pill, some prompts for internal reflection that you could maybe think about. So, like, for example, one of the prompts is, do you feel one or more of your core values are not being fully honored in life or business? Describe the situation and explore why this might be happening. So I think when you're thinking of your core values, it's important to do that internal reflection, because I don't know if you would agree. I think you would, but sometimes the core value list can grow and sometimes it can change, based on who you are in that season of life and what you put out and what you're wanting to give in terms of um, what you bring to the table during that era of your life. There's also that idea that everyone makes mistakes, especially when they're trying to define who they are. Like possibly going into a TikTok live and your sister in Christ sees you and calls you out on it. That's a common mistake that people might make. And I think in that moment, I am so glad that I have someone like Marcy to call me out and be like, hey, these people are not serving you. You are more than this version of yourself. And I truly appreciate that, because if only we had more people in the world that looked at us as team, as a team perspective than a competition perspective. Because she could have been like, girl, she is making a fool of herself. I'm not going to tell her because I don't want her to like be the best version of herself. And she didn't do that. So I think it's important to also be surrounding yourself with people who are going to be able to keep you in check and accountable in your personal brand. And I truly believe that even could be a key component to personal branding. Me and Marcy, we will call each other and bounce ideas off of each other. We will, consider partnerships like the space where it's like we're working together to build each other up. And I think that's even a part of our brand, our core value I think a core value could be teamwork for sure, or community, like involving your community in your core value and what you want for your brand to represent and how you're remembered. Um, when we do like a brief, or like when we put it all together, I think these questions helped us to go a little further deeper into the personal branding components. But for someone listening who now understands these components and might want to put them to action, what would you suggest, Marcy, could be something they could do today or this week to try unpacking their blueprint and maybe intentionally defining these elements of passion, skills, reputation, values, for themselves?
Um, I would like to say or suggest that first start with what makes you feel bad. What makes you feel, I know that's crazy, right? What makes you feel like, dang, I am not doing so well? Or what brings you, I guess, a sense of shame? And then reverse engineering it into what can I do to better this, to make this shame go away? Like I brought up, remember I told you about my brother talking about my time management skills. I also saw that. And I told you, like, I hate being late. I don't want to be late for work anymore. So now I have done things in order to make sure that I'm on time for work, that I'm not late for work, that I have the things that I need, that I'm prepared. And that goes from my personal life into my professional life because now, um, now I know what I need to do in order to be prepared and be on time. So start with what makes you feel what brings you shame? What makes you feel bad? What do you feel like you are not doing well? And reverse engineer it. Then also, um, use what Megs has already provided up here, um, for your values. Like really think about what values do you um what values do you value, I guess? Like, what are some things you want to be aligned with? Um, and again, after that, you can go through the prompts that she has provided. Like, I would do it. I'm probably going to do it after I get off this treadmill because I've walked a mile and a half and I'm tired. It's almost 3 o'clock. I've walked a whole hour. Megs, I'm tired. So that one,
You're on mute. Okay. Um, we are going to end the space soon. I would say like in a couple minutes. I did put in the comments and up in the Jumbotron some action items that I wanted to give you for today on top of Marcy's. You can do it this week, this month, even, because I know internal reflection takes time. But for your values, think back to a moment when you felt incredibly proud or even incredibly frustrated, and what core belief was at play when those things happened. For skills, you might want to ask some people who are close to you, who really know you well, like your colleagues, your friends, your family, and what they think your top three strengths are. You might be even surprised at the answers they give you and realize that people view your people view your strengths differently than you might view your own. For passions, make a list of 5 topics or activities where you lose track of time. Oh, sorry, my dog's getting a little active. For reputation, think about what you want your legacy to be. Then consider if your current actions align with that. Where's the gap? Where can we fill in the gap? The key is really to be aware and mindful of yourself and the consistency that is very important. Start small, be authentic, and let your brand evolve with you. So, huge lesson for me is like I was trying to be something that I wanted to be, but I think I wasn't. And as soon as I switched it to like something that really mattered to me, it was different. It was like I could even feel myself being passionate in spaces talking about it. Things would come out of my mouth so fluidly that it was just natural for me. It was just like, oh wow, like I really knew what I was talking about there. And to be honest, when you feel passionate about something, it goes back to that like what could you talk for hours about? And for me, I can talk hours about the growth, the pride that I have in the growth that I've made in my own personal life through whether that is career, whether that's finances, And whether that's like building relationships, I think a huge part of me right now within my own brand is I need to have faith so that I can be fearless. Like Femway, Miss Marcy's banner says, I need to believe in myself now because I constantly have that imposter syndrome where I think I'm not worthy of being that example for people. And that's really not true. And um, so I'm going to work on my values, maybe thinking about what it is that my core values are and implementing that into my actions, words, and even the communities that I put myself in. Um, I really like the idea of asking people who are close to you about your top strengths. So I'm really interested in what they would say versus what I would say. And then I think for reputation, really thinking about what my legacy is and what I want to be remembered as if I were to like leave the app, what would somebody like remember Megs as? And so I would consider any actions that don't align with what I want my legacy to be and filling in those gaps with ones that I do want to align with my values. And then passions, of course. So, Marcy, before we close the space, do you think you'd be interested in sharing what I think you had mentioned an actionable item, but what are you going to do this month or this week or even today to try and be more in line with your personal brand?
Well, okay, so my thing is my action item, I'm going to do what you provided. So like having the value, doing the prompts, also talking with people to see what what skills or what values they see in me or that they see I display. I'll probably do that. Um, but I wanted to say the importance, right? Okay, so the importance behind the values and the personal branding, the the importance behind it is that it is going to make it easier to be able to put your messaging together for your audience. Like I wanted to say that a while ago. I'm so sorry, I forgot. The importance behind it, because a lot of people will hear us talking about this, but not really know why it's important to know the values or why it's important to understand the skill set or the passions. It's because once you understand that, you have to go forward with displaying it, creating it, showing it, speaking it. So now you'll know how to write write about these values or how to word the messages. So that's why it's important to really understand this and then practice it, right? Because once you start practicing your values, once you start practicing these skills, people will start to gravitate towards you and it will be the people that you want. Like, let's understand that it'll be the people that you need to be around, that you would want to be around. I brought this up a while ago about personal branding when we were on the phone, Megs. I know we're trying to wrap. I just wanted to share the story that I was in the NFT space and the crypto space as Beast Boy, right? Because I was working with an NFT gaming company doing their marketing here on Twitter. And the owner was like, "Oh, well, we want to be anonymous or whatever they were doing, right? Because they didn't want to be doxxed. So they were like, you have to do something. So I made a Beast Boy and I made my own profile picture. Like I drew it and they didn't know, most people didn't know that I was a woman. And so it's like I have gone through so many different brands. I've gone through Beast Boy, which was the NFT company or the NFT phase, Social Senpai, because I'm a gamer and I love anime. I worked with streamers, Jessica, which is my actual name, and then now Marceline, right? And Marceline is my alter ego. This is my alias. This is the person that not necessarily I want to change who I am. I love me, but this is pretty much me stepping into being fearless. Marceline is fearless for me. If you know, you know, like from Adventure Time. Marceline is fearless to me. She is such a rocker. Like she's the girl. And then Frizzle, Miss Frizzle from the Magic School Bus, is an educator and she makes it fun and, you know, like very hands-on and active and engaging in the learning. So this is what I am embracing and embodying with my personal brand as Marceline Frizzle. Like, this is what I'm displaying. And so, and I haven't explained that much as far as like the rebrand and letting people know why I've gone from, you know, the profile I used to have to the profile I have now. But I feel as though I'm succeeding in fulfilling what my goal and what my mission is, showing up, being fearless, having fun while educating, being relatable, using language and terms that, you know, um, my audience use daily, you know, like the way that I talk. Sometimes I do switch the way that I speak, but most of the time I have a southern drawl. Like I have a very urban air quotations accent. I have a black accent. I talk for me, I feel like it's very Texas accent, you know, but that also leans into me being able to like just explain things in a simpler way. Like, cause I'm using simple language. I just want y'all to understand where I'm coming from. And yeah, so I want to share a bit about what my personal brand means to me. And so I appreciate you, Megs, for allowing me to speak about the key components that make up a personal brand, going through the values, going through passions and skills. All of these things are very important. And all of these things will take time to develop. And it's okay if they change over time. That's why I brought up all the different phases I went through. It is totally okay to hit a pivot. It is totally okay to rebrand yourself or to change your reputation. It's what we do as people. We have to evolve. We have to change. We have to be adaptable in order to be successful and whatever success means to you. So, again, thank you, Megs, for allowing me to be a part of the, you know, the space for strategic styles. I
Yeah,
love
I
you
before
so much.
we thank you. I love you too. Before we close out, I want you to put in the comments your I know we might not have a whole lot of females in here, but Marcy has Femway, her own brand that she is creating, and I want you to like put a little tidbit in the comments, like a business card, of your website and how maybe people can reach out to you if they're looking to talk with you. I did do so for myself as well. I put my website, which is strategic style company co.com, and I have a little email newsletter. I think Savage is on there, Marcy is on there, and it's super insightful on how to set goals and how to create that action plan. And maybe we'll even do a segment where we talk about the personal brand aspect of your goals and trying to create for your life design style. There is a quiz on there that is open for the public to take. It's a personal life design style quiz. And from what I hear, it's pretty on point with what your life design style is according to your personal values, your goals, what you're looking to accomplish. And then you can also look into some tools and products that can help you to grow and discover that personal brand and do that self reflection. I recommend the goal setting planner. That is a huge help for me. Right now, I am working on my health and well being. So I would like to lose at minimum 100 pounds this year. You're like, damn, girl, but I need to get healthy. I need to think about what I'm putting out into my brand. And one of those things is for people to make those hard decisions and to do the thing. So right now, I mean, I'm definitely going to look into how I'm applying my actions and my words to my values. But one of the goals that I'm setting for right now, mid year to the end of the year, is to lose at least 50 pounds and then come to the whole year in July of 2026. I want to be on progress, on track for 100. So if you see me out here in these streets walking on the treadmill and eating ice cream, like, you better tell me to stop eating the ice cream, because girl, it is my guilty pleasure. I'm like, you have no idea how many times I've been on Spaces just eating away at the ice cream. Okay, so I'm gonna be focusing on that, and I'd love to help you with your goals as well too. So if you ever feel like, you're doing something and it's repetitive and it's just not working for you, let me know, and maybe we can create an action plan together, do a quick consultation of what you're doing, and I'd be happy to help you get started on that. Marcy, did you get to put together a quick little something? I should have told you beforehand. I'm sorry.
No, yeah, you're fine. I just shared the newsletter in the comments. So if anybody wants to sign up, they can. It is about content creation and content marketing and casual way, casual language with action plans and resources. So most of the time, that's what the newsletter will have: summaries of the spaces from the community, from the live classes that we have on Monday, and any other spaces that I speak in. If I feel like it's relevant, I will share it there in the newsletter. And yeah, so much love, many blessings.
All right. Well, thank you, Savage. Thank you to our other listener, Silk Steel, for coming in and listening to us just share a little bit about our experience and how you can implement key components to make up your personal brand. This is Megs and Marceline, the content queen. We are checking out. I hope you have a wonderful weekend and come back next time.